Andy in the Attic here with a thing on guilt. This is a follow-on from a blog post I wrote ages ago, and I thought, I was reminded of it this morning with a conversation I had with somebody. Now, guilt. I gotta be honest, I think it's a rubbish emotion, predominantly because it doesn't make people change. It's an emotion that kind of creates a satisfaction for both the offended party, but also the guilt sufferer. It's almost like if they feel guilty, then at least that's something. And how outraged can we be when someone's wronged us and we tell them and they don't seem to care. They don't feel guilty at all. How aggravating can that be? It's quite extraordinary, the effect. Maybe it's just me, but I suspect I'm not alone. Now, guilt is problematic because it doesn't get people to change their behavior. What it does is it motivates people to alleviate the guilt. They're not so interested in actually what can I do differently in the future. Now, for a number of reasons. Guilt is a very physiological type of emotion, but it's also time-based and it's retrospective. Guilt requires you to do something first, or not do something, in fact, in order to feel guilty about it. Guilt is not an anticipatory emotion. That would be called anxiety or worry. Guilt's retrospective. So when people are seeking to alleviate their guilt, they're looking retrospectively. They're not looking prospectively. Now, if we're creating behavioral change for people, we need that behavioral change to be prospective. A lot of people, once they have alleviated the guilt, the motivation to change is gone, simply because their motivation was actually to change in terms of, I want less guilt. Now they're free to do it again. And this is one of the reasons why some people who are the guilt monkeys, as I think of them, they're always feeling guilty about something, and they're always apologizing. Well, if guilt was so good at getting people to change their behavior, why aren't those people simply changing their behaviors? Why are they still engaging in the same patterns? And therein lies our thing. We've got to actually change the feed forward behaviors rather than retrospective emotion. Now, there's other things too. People can feel guilty for absolutely nothing at all, and it's largely expectation-based. We place expectations upon a person. That person doesn't live up to the expectations. We express disappointment towards them. Chances are they feel a bit guilty. Now, when that scenario happens, and this is the example I gave in the blog post, young woman I know, at the time that I wrote it, she was undergoing that life transition from full-time education into either further education or a career. She's young. She's coming from a wealthy background. She's intelligent. She's bright. She's dynamic. She's attractive. She ticks all the boxes of a success story. She just wanted really to get married, have children, be a homemaker. She had no great ambitions. She had no need for that in her personality. Wouldn't it be a shame? Wouldn't it be a waste to throw that all away? All that potential. Whoa. Now, I have to be honest, this opened up some values. We're thinking, okay, so being a homemaker and raising children is a shame? It's a waste? Anyway, let's say that for the woke people to argue about. Now, what we have is a person who has familial, social, school, college, peers, everybody, expectation set, which may be communicated directly or indirectly, placed upon her to go to university. Now, university brochures are looked through. Application forms are half-heartedly filled in. Lateness happens. Not feeling very well this morning. The mysterious maladies start to surface. Now, what starts to happen is we have a person who appears to be becoming ill. And the syndromes that she manifested were all of those weird ones that doctors like to group, things like IBS, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, all those kind of things, which actually mean, go away, we don't want to bother ourselves with you any further. Yeah, she manifested a lot of those. Now what we have is the out. See, the elephant in the room, which is our expectation set upon you and you're failing. But no one dislikes her. Everyone wants the best for her. They will encourage, oh, poor girl, she's not well. Now, the illness serves the bridge and basically means she doesn't have to feel guilty and everyone else doesn't have to change their expectation set because when she's better, she'll be able to do the applications. And now what we have is the beginnings of a chronic set of maladies. So sometimes in order to manage both alleviate guilt, but also not to challenge the other person's expectation set, other symptoms can start to emerge. Now, other stuff as well. So I'm feeling guilty. I wish to alleviate myself of guilt. And because I feel so guilty that I've wronged you, I'm going to offer a sincerest apology to you. But you don't accept the apology. Well, screw you. If you can't take my apology, well, this is why these things happen. Now what can happen is a dynamic, which is basically a game plan. I feel guilty. I've apologized to you. Now the expectation is upon you to receive the apology with good grace and be all forgiving and love and light. Yeah. Not always easy and not always appropriate. Because the person who's the wronged party may well get the idea that, yeah, sure, I accept the apology, just like last time. Just like the time before that. You want to see this in action? Look at spouses who are problem gamblers and spouses who are violent. That's that very dynamic. I love you, Doreen. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad for you. Yeah. And they'll beat them up the next day. This is one of the patterns. Guilt is often used as a manipulation as well as a self-punishment. And think about this one. If I self-punish myself, does that make everything okay? No, it doesn't. It doesn't change anything. So now, in order to work with the person who feels guilty, what we need to do is get them to give up the need for other people to play a part in their internal suffering. Because a lot of people cannot feel alleviated of guilt and change their behavior until the other parties change their behavior in some way, as in accept the apology and accept me unconditionally and tell me I'm a good person, really. Well, that's stupid. That's nuts. So ultimately what we have to get the person to do is to isolate their guilt from everybody else and go, right, this feeling of guilt, on a score out of 10, how strong is it? How familiar? And when's the first time you can remember feeling it? Tracking it back to their early developmental times. We can use a number of processes with that. IEMT is a good one. NLP has a number of great processes for it. The Metaphors of Movement has a model for guilt as well within that. There's lots of ways that guilt can be addressed. There's no one that's superior to the others. You may need to go through several of them in order to work with that person. But then the work really begins. The reason we have to start alleviating the guilt from the person first is often guilt's associated with blame. And therefore, people seek to avoid blame. Therefore, they might be defensive. Alleviate the guilt first, and now we've got to work with, okay, what was really going on here? What actually are your motivations and intentions behind these behaviors, and why haven't you changed them? And then we can start working with the person in that way. Obviously, I'm summarizing in a slightly abridged version. So guilt. Do this. If you're a person who likes to make other people feel guilty, you're a bully. That's not you. Now, you may well be engaged in a relationship where the offending party is an offending party, and your way of managing that relationship is to make them feel guilty about their behavior. That's you being a bully. Because you're guilting the other person, you're controlling them, and guess what? They counter-control you, and you're in a game of control, counter-control with each other. You might want to address some of those behaviors and help the other person change. How do you help a person change? Go, I don't accept your apology. Don't. I'm not accepting your apology at all. I'm only accepting change. And your guilt's for you to handle, and you've got to change your behavior. That is what's required here. Otherwise, sure, I accept the apology. You'll do it again. No, I won't. Really? Let's look at the history here. The game stops now. We don't accept the apologies any further, and you should not accept your guilt any further. The only thing acceptable in this dynamic is a change of behavior, and we can work towards that with whatever method needed. Oh, that's a bit. I think that's about it. How long have we been talking for? 8 minutes. I was going to try and keep it to 5. Overran. Oh, well, never mind. I'm going to stick a link to the original blog post about guilt because there's some additional stuff in there that I think people might find useful. If you have any additional things to add, any comments, whatever, stick them in the comment section. Click the like button. It's always appreciated.
This is